All right, everybody. Well, we are back with another amazing podcaster who is doing an outstanding job in her niche and just doing some amazing things. Known for her soothing sound of her voice and calming presence, Michelle serves as an educator and advocate for families as they navigate our challenging medical system, which often strips women of their autonomy and their right to be heard. Michelle is the host of the Birth Ease podcast and founder of the Birth Ease Method, a childbirth education program which teaches parents how to connect with their inner wisdom, release their fears, and create a deep and profound relaxation habit. Vital skills that serve families not only throughout their pregnancy and birth, but ultimately for the rest of their lives. With firsthand experience regarding the deep and far-reaching impacts of stress, birth trauma, and parental loss, Michelle has developed a specialization that includes stress reduction, natural childbirth, parenting, grief, trauma, and birth-related post-traumatic stress. An expert in the field, Michelle possesses 20 years of experience as a healer, educator, birth and bereavement doula, ordained interfaith minister, and clinical hypnotherapist. Sorry. She's creating transformation in the lives of families one birth at a time. So we're honored to have Michelle Smith join us here today. How's it going, Michelle?
It's going good. I'm really enjoying listening to everybody speak.
We're glad. Great. You know what? I think everybody's excited to hear about your stuff too. So let's talk about why did you start a podcast? Talk about that kind of mindset that rolled into that.
Honestly, today I was just thinking, I really had no idea that I would be where I am today speaking to you. I just felt this impulse to go to the New Media Summit and then ended up connecting with Steve Olsher. And now I have a podcast and now I'm talking to you. It's just been the most incredible experience. It really has.
Right. When was the first New Media Summit that you attended?
It was back in February.
February. All right. Good stuff.
I remember seeing you there. I don't know if you remember.
Oh yeah, no, I remember. Yeah, definitely. That was out in Tampa.
Right.
At the Inverness Lodge or whatever that was that we all had to puff around.
The hard place to find.
Great golf course. Great golf course. Right. But let's talk a little. So you've been 20 years experience with your background and stuff like that. Started a podcast. What's been the biggest surprise with having your podcast and in your line of work?
I think the most amazing thing has been, I just did an interview with someone in India and about her book she wrote for expecting families to connect with their baby in the womb. And that aspect of it's been amazing. And I want to start a series on listening to midwives and what their experience is, what's important to them as they are really holding that space for families in the future.
Yeah, they're definitely interesting. And they were in India. Was it done via phone, via video, or how?
Via Zoom.
Via Zoom, very nice.
Yeah.
What did you find? So you've got an international audience more so than something that's domestic. Do you see that a little bit more so or no?
We connected through Facebook, actually. Huh? And she told me about her book and it just touched me. Her story touched me. It was born out of the loss of her baby and what she found helped her to get through that. And that's part of my work. And I think her book just could help women to have more confidence in their pregnancy, because it's really, when you were speaking earlier to Allison and speaking to other people, what's really been touching me is there is so much information. Much information. And we're really getting bombarded by it. And my hope is to help women to really discover and their partners what's important to them when they give birth to their babies, and to teach them skills to reduce stress and fear and to feel confident, because how you're born, it really matters how we're born and how we're treated.
Mm-hmm. What's been some of the surprising feedback from your audience that you've been getting?
Especially the ones that have worked with me before, that they can't listen to my podcast while they're driving because I just it's your voice and I'm used to relaxing to your voice. So I kind of want to fall asleep right now. So that made me laugh.
Well, but I think that's a compliment. That's a great thing there. Yeah. Hey, driving advisory. Don't listen. Right. Don't stream and drive listening to Birth Ease.
Right. If I have an interview, I think it's a little different. But if it's just me talking, or I do offer some meditations on there and stuff, I do have the disclaimer: please don't listen while you're driving.
There you go. That's definitely important. I think we see a lot of that now. With you having such a broad background in it, has it helped you kind of categorize your episodes and help you kind of what was the process to kind of help you design which episode came next or which subject matter came next for you, Michelle?
I knew I wanted to really speak to this issue of stress and pregnancy and parenthood. So I set up a few interviews with colleagues and things like that and decided to do some meditations. And I'm finishing up that series. And then, like I said, I'm going to move into this one with midwives. But in October, it was Pregnancy and Infant Loss Awareness Month. And then that really seemed like the perfect opportunity. And that, back to your question earlier, those interviews, especially with the parents, I've been getting really positive feedback how their story is helping them move through their grief that's so new and so raw, because both of these parents, they were each 5 years into losing their babies at 39 weeks. So that's been huge. That's been huge. Because we all have our motivations for doing this, but honestly, if you can help, for me, if I can help one family to feel more confident or to move through their grief, that's huge. It really is. It's huge.
Is that how you kind of design it, that you're talking to one person on the other end when you're doing an episode? Because I've heard a lot of people talk about, hey, when you're doing an episode, think of talking to that ideal, that one person, you're having a conversation with them if you're doing a solo episode. Does that feel kind of what turns into what your focus is?
Yeah, I mean, I want to reach out to the audience, but I do think it is a bit of, let me speak to you. What's going on with you? Here's this meditation as you walk through, if you're facing grief in the holidays. I just lost my stepmom. And so it was it was serendipitous how I could work through the grief in October and then provide that. So that's kind of been some of the information. I mean, the inspiration in that.
Not only helping those to heal, but helping you deal with that. It is a two-way street. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah. And what you two said earlier about listening, I think that's really important. That's part of what I'm loving about the interviews. I love listening. I've always loved listening. And I like listening to the stories and finding things out. And I just did an interview with a chiropractor friend of mine. And I've known about the benefits of chiropractic care in pregnancy and for babies. But in the interview, I'm like, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. Oh, I didn't know that. So it was really neat. And then I can refer my families to it as well, which is huge.
Yeah, it becomes an extra network for you of professionals. But I think those learning specific nuggets about your friends or family or vendors or people you had relationships with, like, I didn't know that about you. That's always a exciting thing, right?
Yeah, it is.
Where do you see, or what's your goal in, say, the next 12 to 24 months with your podcast?
And to reach more people. Like I said, I'm really excited about this Listening to Midwives series, and I'm not sure how long that'll take me, but there's a lot of really amazing midwives out there, and I want to give them a voice to be heard, because birth is amazing. It's amazing, and we're also honored to be here, and it's hard too. And some of the things we're facing in our medical system, it's difficult. So, and I want to avoid pod fade. You get into this, this is so fun. And then you realize it's work. It's a lot of work. It's enjoyable, but it's a lot of work. My little girl today was like, are you editing an episode again today, Mommy? I'm like, no, actually I get to talk about bedcast instead. So that's been neat.
So that leads me to ask the question, because I'm sure some people are listening to this. Do you have a schedule that you try to stick to when you can? Because I'm sure your schedule is kind of up and going with at the drop of a hat. You've got to go sometimes, right?
Yeah, that's what happened when I'm like, well, I'm not going to get to make any slides because the babies are calling.
That's okay.
And so I'm trying. I try to have some in the bank. I do once a week, and that's a lot easier when I have them in the bank. Like this week, it's been busy. I don't have any in the bank, so I think I'm going to do a meditation about connecting with your baby. So, but yeah, or I may some week just have to not have one, but I'm hoping that doesn't happen.
There, yeah. Well, if you get a little bit of extra bank, it gives you a little bit of time to catch you up in energy and recharge and go from there for things. What's the best way for those to connect with you? That people are listening here or watching the replay or your audience. What's the best way for people to get a hold of you, Michelle, to connect with you or listen to the show?
They can reach me at birtheaseservices.com.
Oh, and everything's there? That's perfect.
Everything's there. Everything's there.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, Michelle, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Pitch a Pod Pitch. We're honored to have you. You were one of the first ones to schedule, so you weren't the cat like I was chasing others, which is awesome.
You're welcome. Yeah, I was just excited. I was honored you asked me to be a part of it. So thank you.
Honored to have you and glad to see your show growing so well. And you're doing an amazing job. Keep it up. Ever need any counsel? I know myself and a lot of other people be glad to jump on and help out any way we can for you. All righty.
Thank you. Thank you. Take care.
Thanks, Michelle.
Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. That was